Recording in progress.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, we will refer to what we have done during the last session, and basically I will refer to the chapter 2 which we started during the last week. And we started this chapter 2, competing with information technology, and we have, I think, about 5 learning objectives for this particular chapter, and we looked at those learning objectives, and then we started talking about the fundamentals of strategic advantage under section 1, and under which we started talking about strategic IT, and where we emphasize that we can use information systems as more than a set of technologies that support efficient business operations, work group and enterprise collaboration, or effective business decision making. Now, these are some primary users of information systems, which is focused by any organization, and they can be the fundamental reasons as to why the organizations invest in information systems and technologies. So these can be their primary objectives, but they should not be the only objectives of investing on information systems. So that is what we highlighted there. And then we talked about this strategic IT, or how we can use information technology to attain strategic objectives. And so we highlighted that major role of information systems is to apply them basically to gain a competitive advantage, and so in doing so we can use information technology for different purposes like developing products, services, capabilities, which will give some major advantages for the organization over the other players in the market. And then we highlighted about how we can attain this strategic, or how we can facilitate this particular strategic role, and that is through something called strategic information architecture, so which is a collection of strategic information systems. And then we highlighted about what we mean by a strategic information system, because in order to execute the strategic role, we need to have the strategic information architecture. And so strategic information architecture is a collection of strategic information systems. So here we refer to what we mean by strategic information system, and we elaborated that it can be any information system used within the organization, but the condition is that it should help the organization to gain a competitive advantage or reduce a competitive disadvantage that they have right now, or the particular system should help them to achieve other strategic objectives set by the organization. So that is about the strategic information systems. And so thereafter we move to discuss another important area about competitive forces and competitive strategies. And we mentioned that there are 5 competitive forces, and then we need competitive strategies to counter these particular 5 forces. And in the next slide, we elaborated that this 5 forces model was introduced by Professor Michael Porter somewhere in early 1980s, and he mentioned that these forces are faced by any organization operating in any industry, but this is more relevant and more applicable for manufacturing organizations, I mentioned last time. Then So even though this model was introduced in 1980, this is very much applicable even in today's context. And this 5 forces model and the competitive forces is one of the most used methods to analyze the existing competition in industries. So this is actually the most used model for analyzing the competition in any industry. So therefore, this is very much relevant for your organizations as well, and you can use these 5 forces to analyze the existing competitive environment or the competitive structure prevailing in your industry. So then we moved on to 5 competitive strategies, but according to diagram, there are 5 main competitive strategies. But apart from that, there are other strategies. So we first started talking about these competitive strategies. Why we need competitive strategies? I highlighted earlier also, we need competitive strategies to counter these particular forces. So if you can't counter any of the forces, you may not be in a position to survive and succeed in the particular industry in the long run. So therefore, any company which wants to succeed, survive and succeed in a particular industry in the long run, they should develop certain competitive strategies to counter these particular 5 forces. So we started talking about the first 5 main strategies, starting with cost leadership. So under each strategy, we highlighted what we mean by this particular strategy, and basically what should be focused by an organization under this particular strategy, or if they want to pursue this particular strategy, what they have to do. And we took an example for each of these strategies. So therefore, for cost leadership, differentiation, innovation, growth, and alliance. For those 5 strategies, we highlighted what we mean by those strategies and what should organizations do if they follow these strategies. So then we highlighted that they are not mutually exclusive, indicating that organizations can use one, some, or all of the strategies at the same time. And when you select a particular activity which you are going to use under some strategy, that particular activity may fall into a couple of strategies. That is also mentioned here. So you may select a cost leadership strategy as your primary strategy, but a particular activity that you select under that particular strategy may fall into some other strategies as well. So therefore, we have to remember that. Then we highlighted how we utilize, how we can utilize information technology to execute each and every strategy. And so depending on what we want to achieve under each strategy, we have highlighted that we can use information technology to achieve what we want. So what we want is highlighted here, and so we have highlighted that we can use information technology. But how specifically you use information technology, you have to decide, or the organization has to decide. So what specific information technologies or what specific aspects of information technologies are used to support these particular objectives? Or what IT can be used to support these particular strategies? That is where we have stopped. Is there any question up to now?
No, sir, we can proceed.
Okay, thank you. And there was another question regarding the difference between IT and IS last time. So I think I also made a wrong interpretation there. And there are actually different meanings given for IT and IS, and sometimes we may use it interchangeably without something specific under IT or IS. But in general, it seems that IS is a broad aspect, and IT is considered as a subset of information systems, because when we look at the 5 components that we highlighted in chapter 1 under IS, and there are certain components like hardware. So basically those 4 areas are highlighted under information technology definitions. So therefore the particular model that we referred also can be used to see that information technology is a set there for a collection of sub-components which is classified under information systems. So with that, I think we can move forward. Other competitive strategies. So if we refer back to the earlier figure, there we highlighted the 5 competitive forces and the strategies that are used to counter these particular 5 forces, and we have highlighted the set of primary strategies the organizations can utilize. But apart from that, there was a category identified as other competitive strategies. Then we are going to look at several such other strategies which organizations can use to counter the particular 5 forces. Then the first one, lock in customers and suppliers. This is a strategy, lock in customers and suppliers. So we can lock the customers or suppliers into our organization so that they will not leave us. So they will continue to do business with us or transactions with us. So how can we lock in customers to our organization? How can we lock in suppliers to our organization? That is by building valuable relationships with them. So we need to build valuable relationships with them, or we need to build certain relationships with our customers and suppliers which they value. So when they start valuing the particular relationship that they have with us, they will not leave us. So therefore, we need to develop a very close relationships with them and valuable relationship with them to which they will be attached, so that it will deter them from switching to competitors or deter them from moving to competitors. So when we build these very close linkages, close relationships, close communications, close customer services, support services given to them, so then those relationships will be valued by the customers and suppliers. So that will motivate them to or induce them to stay with us in the long run. So that will prevent them, or that will discourage them from switching to competitors. So that is the lock-in or strategy of lock-in customers and suppliers, which we can utilize. And then the next one is building switching costs. So you can build a switching cost. Now switching cost is the cost incurred by a customer or a supplier when that particular customer or supplier switch to a competitor. So building a switching cost is a strategy where we build some cost to the customer or to the supplier when the customer or supplier tries to leave us. So tries to switch to a competitor. So make customers and suppliers dependent on the use of innovative IS. How we can do it? One example highlighted here: make customers and suppliers dependent on the use of innovative information systems. We may have used information systems to link with our customers and suppliers, and so customers and suppliers link with our organization through those information systems. And those information systems can be something innovative. And when customers compare the information system that they use to contact us, and they may see that they are innovative, and they can be user friendly, and they can be easy to use, and they can be attractive to use. So likewise, there can be certain features in this particular information systems, so to which the customers and suppliers are attracted, and they see some additional value in those particular, say, information systems compared to systems of others. So if we take, for example, if we take certain, say, internet banking examples that we took earlier. So you may have experience about internet banking with different banks, and so then you may have realized that in certain systems, it is easy to do what you want, so that you may tend to utilize that particular app or the particular internet banking application more compared to the others. So others may be somewhat difficult to use, so time consuming to use, or not user friendly to use. So likewise, that can be there. So if you can develop such costs by utilizing information systems, then that will prevent, or that will discourage them from leaving us. So therefore, there is something related to the earlier one also. So you can lock in customers by building switching costs. So that can be there. Here also, I did not mention an example. Again, we may utilize certain information systems, customer relationship management systems that we have to build very close relationships, for which the Amazon is very famous. I think I highlighted last time also. It's identified as a full service company, and everything is provided to the customers online, and a very satisfactory service is provided to the customers, to which customers are attracted. So likewise, they can utilize different systems to maintain very close and valuable relationships with suppliers also. If we take Walmart example that we highlighted during the last session, and Walmart maintains very close relationships with suppliers, benefiting Walmart as well as the suppliers, reducing cost of operations there, cost of transactions there, cost of time there. So therefore, they will be valued. Those relationships will be valued. That will help them to lock in those customers and suppliers. Then erect barriers to entry. You can erect certain barriers to entry. To whom? Basically to the new entrants. Erecting barriers to entry by making investments in IT to improve its operations or promote innovation. So by making investments in IT to improve its operations or promote innovation. So you may make certain investments, IT related investments, with the focus of improving your operations or improving on the innovation side. So so that can again discourage from the new entrants, because when the existing companies, or when an existing company makes certain investments in IT to improve something within their organization, a newcomer or a new entrant will have to come up with all those investments when they enter into the market, or the new entrant will have to develop those capabilities before entering into the particular industry. So that can be costly for them. So it can be difficult for them due to a variety of reasons, maybe due to lack of other resources, lack of skills, lack of expertise, or something like that. So therefore, we can focus on such strategy where we erect barriers by making some IT-related investments. So that can discourage or delay other companies from entering into this particular market. So as I highlighted earlier, because of the quantity of investment that the new entrants will have to make, that can discourage them. Or due to lack of this affordability to invest or lack of other resources as highlighted earlier, it may delay the newcomers from entering into the particular market or to the industry. Then increase the amount of investment and complexity of technology required to compete in an industry or a market segment. So I highlighted this one so that when an existing company or existing companies make these investments, so the amount of investment required to compete in the particular industry increases. So therefore, that will discourage the new entrants from coming into the market. So therefore, that is one thing which we can focus, and also the particular IT related investment can be a complex one that we utilize. So when we invest in some complex technologies, the new entrant will also have to come up with the same or similar technologies, a complex technology, for which we may require other resources like the experts I mentioned earlier. So for a new entrant, they may find it difficult to attract such experts. So therefore, that can also prevent or discourage or delay them from entering into the particular market. Then another strategy and other competitive strategies is leverage investment in IT. So we'll see what we mean by this leveraging investment in IT to gain competitive advantage. The first point says investing in information technology enables a firm to build strategic IT capabilities so that they can take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Now, when you make investments in IT and when you keep making investments in information technology, so you naturally build certain IT capabilities, so strategic IT capabilities within your organization. And your focus may not be to build strategic IT capabilities within the organization, but with some other focus, you keep investing in information technology. So then ultimately you may end up with some strategic capabilities within the organization, which you can use to exploit some opportunities arising in the market. So we'll elaborate how you can do it, or how these strategic capabilities are built. In many cases, this happens when a company invests in advanced computer-based information systems to improve the efficiency of its operation of its business processes. Now, this is one of the primary reasons for which we make investments in information systems and technologies. So, so what is the primary reason which we have highlighted earlier? Also, improving efficiency of its own business processes. This can be one of the primary reasons. This can be one of the fundamental reasons as to why the organizations make investments in information systems or information technologies. So then, so you invest in these advanced computer-based information systems with the focus of improving your business processes, so improving the efficiency of your business processes. Then this is basically not a one-time investment that you make. So you usually make several investments, or you keep investing on different technologies and systems to improve on different areas within the organization. Then armed with this strategic technology platform, so that means you have invested on certain technologies and systems over a period of time. So as I mentioned earlier, this will not happen overnight, and you will keep on investing over a period of time. So then after some time, basically you may be having this particular strategic technology platform. So then armed with this strategic technology platform, the firm can leverage investment in IT. So that means you have a particular technology platform or strategic technology platform which you have developed by now, so which you have done basically over a period of time, which you can leverage the particular investment that you made, or you can utilize it, or you can exploit the particular investment that you made by developing new products and services that would not be possible without a strong IT capability. So now you utilize this particular technological platform to develop new products or services which will not be possible without a strong IT capability. Now, this is what you have developed over a period of time, the strong IT capability or the strategic IT capability which you have developed over a period of time, which you can exploit now to come up with new products and services. So that is basically what we mean by this leveraging investment or leverage investment in IT. So the particular investments that you made so far or that you have made is exploited for certain advantages. An important current example is the development of corporate intranets and extranets by many companies. We mentioned that now these intranets and extranets have become very important networks within organizations, and they are being used to facilitate the transactions performed within the organizations as well as with outsiders, and they play a primary role in performing today's business transactions. So we have taken this particular example, the development of corporate intranets and extranets by many companies, which enables them to leverage their previous investments, leveraging the previous investments in internet browsers, PCs, servers, client-server networks, and so on. Now, the internet browser technology came somewhere in late 1990s. So the companies would have invested in these particular technologies by that particular time. And also, they would have invested in these PCs, servers, client-server networks, and so on, sometimes even before the making investments on internet browsers, or maybe some of the investments after that. So when you have made these particular investments and when you have these particular systems with you in your organization, then only you can go for this intranets and extranets. Without internet browsers or the internet technology within the organization, you are not in a position to develop these intranets and extranets, because the primary technology that is used to develop intranets or extranet is the internet technology. And also, without PC servers and client server networks, you are not in a position to develop the particular internal networks identified as intranets, or the networks which you use to connect with your trading partners, the extranets, which you can develop with these particular resources and systems within your organization. So once you are armed with these particular technologies and systems within the organization, so you are in a position to exploit the particular technology to develop some other new products like intranets and extranets. So that is the example highlighted here. Yes. Okay. We have talked about 4 other competitive strategies. Is there any question regarding these strategies? Now, these are not primarily IT-related strategies. Now, these have been there for a long period of time. So, but what we highlight now is we are in a position to support these particular strategies, like locking customers and suppliers, building switching costs, and so on, with information systems and with information technology. Do you have any question regarding this? These other competitive strategies?
No, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we are moving to competitive advantage and competitive necessity. So we can see a relationship between competitive advantage and competitive necessity, so which is illustrated by this particular figure, where we start with innovation, which can lead to competitive advantage, which then leads to organizational learning, which then leads to competitive necessity. So what basically happens is that now organizations basically do something innovative to get a competitive advantage. Now, without innovations, usually we are not in a position to gain some competitive advantage, because we have to do something different. We have to do something new compared to our competitors in the market, without which we are not in a position to gain this particular competitive advantage. I think we took the example of automated teller machines introduced by the Citibank. That was an innovative product or innovative system, so which help them to gain competitive advantage. So then there is something called organizational learning. So what is this organizational learning? The other firms in the industry or other firms in the market starts learning about this particular innovative product or service or system that was introduced by one of the competitors. So there will be a time period for this particular organizational learning process. Depending on what was introduced here, the time taken for organizational learning can change. Now, if it is the automated teller machines that we took earlier, it cannot be learned overnight, and because other organizations will have to study about it and develop variety of resources within the organization to come up with a similar system or similar process or similar product. So definitely, if it is automated teller machines, other banks would have taken several years in this particular learning process and to introduce them into their organization. So until which the earlier company is in a position to gain competitive advantage. So therefore, if we take the Citibank example, where Citibank introduced ATMs into the US market first, and they would have got competitive advantage for several years until the other banks learned the particular product and introduced the particular systems into their banks also. So then what will happen is it leads to something called competitive necessity. So that means the particular innovative product or service or system that was introduced here becomes something necessary within the particular market to operate the businesses, to conduct their businesses. Now, so if we take this ATM example, you may have realized that now ATMs have become very common, And without ATMs, no bank can survive in that particular banking industry today. So therefore, ATMs have become a competitive necessity. So it has become a necessary technology to conduct their businesses. It has become a necessary product to conduct their businesses. So therefore, depending on what was introduced here, so if it was a new technology, that technology become a competitive necessity in the particular industry or in the particular market after some time, after other organizations learned about, and other organizations come up with similar systems or similar technologies or similar investments. So that is what is highlighted here. So therefore, no competitive advantage will last in the long run or will last forever. So therefore, we go through this particular circle, and whatever introduced by a particular organization can be learned by other organization, and they are also in a position to come up with the same or very, very similar product. So if you think about mobile phones and the development of mobile phones and the incorporation of new features, so those are innovations, the incorporation of new features, but the others start learning about, and within a very short period of time, others are also in a position to come up with similar features, which then become a competitive necessity. Yes, is there any question regarding this particular cycle through which we have to go through?
It's clear, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, then we are moving to the value chain and strategic information systems. We are going to focus on another model introduced by Professor Michael Porter during the same period in 1980, and he came up with all those models, concepts, and theories during that particular period. The competitive forces model, the competitive strategies, the value chain model. So all three came during the same time. Then, so what? Now this is also something very important for organizations, and this is also applicable for all organizations operating today as well, where we basically divide the organization into different set of activities. So that is the primary focus which we do under this particular value chain, where we divide the organization into different set of activities. Now, this point says view the firm as a chain of basic activities that add value to its products and services. Now, here the firm is seen as a chain of basic activities. So we see it as a chain of basic activities. So it's a set of basic activities, so which are connected to each other, so which will add value to its products and services, which are produced by the organization. So therefore, primarily the value chain identifies a set of connected basic activities or integrated business activities which add value to the products and services. Now, the particular activities are basically divided into two. So, the set of activities identified under the value chain model is divided into two. The first one is identified as primary processes, so primary activities. The other category is identified as support activities, so support processes. Then, what are the primary processes? Primary processes are correctly related to manufacturing or delivering product, are directly related to manufacturing or delivering products. So primary processes are the ones which have a direct impact on the manufacturing and delivery process of products or services. So primary activities are therefore have a direct effect on the manufacturing process or delivery process of the products. Then support processes help support the day-to-day running of the firm and indirectly contribute to products and services. Now, these support services primarily help the organization to run their day-to-day activities, and also they will have an indirect effect or indirect contribution to the products and services manufactured by the organization. So, even though these support services, without support services, we are not in a position to execute primary processes. So, because support services play a prominent role in conducting the day-to-day operations of an organization. Then we can use the value chain to highlight where competitive strategies will add the most value. Now, this is where it is important. We can use the value chain model to highlight where competitive strategies will add the most value. Now, we talked about competitive strategies earlier. For what, for what do we use competitive strategies? We mentioned when we talked about competitive forces. For what purpose we use competitive strategies?
To face for five forces.
Yes, yes, to counter the five forces. A better term is counter, to counter the five forces. Okay, so then we can think about certain strategies which will be appropriate for our organization. So we can decide that cost leadership is appropriate, or differentiation is appropriate, innovation is appropriate. So then how are we going to implement it within the organization? So it is basically through the value chain. So we need to look at the value chain and the activities under the value chain, and then see how we can use the particular strategies which we have selected to support the particular activities through which we can execute that particular strategy. So we have to we have to analyze the value chain activities and see how we can relate the particular strategies that we have selected, or how we can use the particular strategies that we have selected to support the activities identified inside the value chain. Then here it illustrates the value chain model consisting of these two categories of processes or activities. So please remember that here they use the term processes, but in certain instances we use activities. So it can be support activities and also primary activities. Again, here they have used the term business, but definitely here also it is business processes. So we can say in general support processes and primary processes, or support activities and primary activities. First, we will focus on primary activities because they are the ones which are directly related to the manufacturing and distribution of a product or service. So there are five activities and under primary activities. So there are five processes under primary processes. So what are those five processes? Inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, customer service. Now, when we look at this particular figure also, we may realize that this is more relevant and applicable for a manufacturing company. So as I highlighted during the last session, Professor Michael Porter developed these models during 1980s, uh, uh, and during that particular time period, it was the manufacturing sector having a major contribution to economies of those countries, especially the developed countries. So then a lot of research focused on those manufacturing companies, and then these models and concepts came in by focusing on those manufacturing companies especially. So, but we can consider them in for other organizations also, but there can be some limitations when we try to apply these models to models to the service sector organizations. Then inbound logistics. So that is related to procurement of different things, maybe the raw materials or parts that we require for the manufacturing process, and then bringing them in to the organization and storing them in appropriate places. So we may store them in warehouses after purchasing and bringing them in to the organization. So those are the primary areas covered under inbound logistics, and so we can utilize, we can see how we can improve this particular activity with the help of information technology or information systems. Now here an example is given. So therefore you can identify that for each and every activity or sub activity coming under these major activities, so the processes coming under these major processes, there are some systems identified here. So what are those systems? They are the systems which we can utilize to improve each and every process, each and every activity. So therefore, please remember that these are the basically these are the systems. So these are the IT applications which we can use to support these processes and also improve these particular processes, which will ultimately help us to gain a competitive advantage. So therefore, not only for these primary processes, but also for the support processes, we have identified different IT-based systems or computer-based systems. So which we can utilize to improve these particular processes, which will ultimately contribute to gaining a competitive advantage for the organization. So therefore, operations is related to the manufacturing process in a manufacturing organization, for which we can utilize computer-aided flexible manufacturing. Outbound logistics is after producing the particular product. Outbound logistics involves the delivery of the particular products to the intended destination. So then it can be to the organization's warehouses, but also it can be to the end customers. Now here the example refers to an example where the particular finished products are delivered to the customers, for which we can use we can use systems like online point of sale system and order processing system to support the particular purchasing and delivery activities of finished products. So therefore, these type of systems can be used to support the outbound logistics, where the final products or the finished products that we produced will be delivered to the customers. In marketing and sales also, we can use an application like targeted marketing, or to identify the target market and then to focus on that particular market. We can use a system like this. Then customer service is another sub process or activity, for which we can use customer relationship management. So then there are four support processes. One is administrative control and support services, then human resource management, technology development, and procurement of e-resources, for which again we can use different computer-based systems like collaborative workflow intranet, so which will support internal processes within the organization, or internal coordination related activities within the organization. And under HR, your employee benefits intranet, where the employees are in a position to identify and assess the different benefits that they are entitled to in the current post, maybe in with their promotions, the next category. So likewise, so they are in a position to get different type of information through this employee benefits intranet. Technology development, product development extranet with partners. So under technology development process, we develop extranet to connect with our trading partners. And with procurement of resources, or to support procurement of resources, we can develop e-commerce web portals to connect with our suppliers and then do our purchasing, or facilitate our purchasing. So this is how we can use value chain model to support our strategies. So then depending on the particular strategies that we have selected, so we have to apply it to the right place, because depending on the strategy we select, we may not be in a position to use the particular strategy for all the processes identified here. So therefore, we need to identify to which activities we can apply the strategy. Because if we take, say, a strategy like cost leadership, if we take these 5 primary processes, what do you think? Can we apply cost leadership strategy effectively to all 5 processes, or only to some of the processes? If some processes, please name them, identify and name them. What processes we can apply it effectively? Take 1 minute or two and tell me. Suppose the organization has decided, after say analyzing the industry competition, one of the strategies, so primary strategy, they are going to use is cost leadership. And then I said that when it comes to the application of strategies, application is made through the value chain. So then if it is cost leadership and if we focus on primary processes, can we apply the cost leadership strategy to all 5 processes effectively, or only to some of the activities effectively?
It's depending on the business.
Sorry?
It's depending on the business.
Then tell me a business and to which activities you can apply. Now if we take now here we focus on a manufacturing setup. So if it is a manufacturer, how can you apply it effectively, or to which processes you can apply it effectively?
Inbound logistic operations, outbound logistics.
Only for those 3.
Yes.
Yes. Any other answer?
If we are directly selling our product on online or some market, we can use online point of sale points also. If we are selling our products through some supply chain, as an example, some supermarkets, uh, at that time we may not use that point.
No. First, let us think about the manufacturing setup. So, otherwise, the things can be confused.
For manufacturing processes, all these 5 things need to have cost leadership, but for certain processes, it can be add other strategies as well.
Yeah. If it is, I said, suppose the organization has decided that they can use cost leadership, and we mentioned earlier also that an organization can use a combination of strategies. So one of the strategies they have selected is cost leadership. So then, out of these 5 activities, can we apply cost leadership to all processors or only to a few processors? That is the question.
Can apply cost leadership for all 5 processes.
Mhm. I use the term effectively. Okay.
Yes.
Then there was a answer saying that only to the first 3 processors. There is an answer saying to all 5 processors. Is there any other answer?
So if we are going with one strategy, shouldn't all the processes support that strategy? As in, if you're like, if inbound logistics, operations, and outbound logistics, we focus on cost leadership. So, if shouldn't customer service and marketing also support that strategy? So it has to flow throughout the entire value chain. I mean, the entire value chain should support a particular strategy.
One thing that I have to correct is that process will not support the strategy. Strategy should support the process. Yes.
Yeah. So
you are asking a question from me.
Yes, sir. Actually, I
don't know. We'll take the answer for the first question, which was posed by me. Yeah, I think the early answer is correct. I said that whether we can use cost leadership strategy effectively for all these 5 processes. There is another answer written telling only the first 3. Yes, because if we can focus on reducing these overall, say, cost of production, cost of operations by focusing on these 3 activities, which will help us to produce a particular product at a lower cost. So if we produce at a lower cost, we can sell at a lower cost, getting a competitive advantage. So if we try to reduce the expenses made for marketing and sale, we may fail in our marketing process. We may not achieve what we want to achieve during the set for the marketing and sales goals. So therefore, reduction of cost may not be recommended here, because we may not be in a position to pursue this particular process effectively if you reduce the allocations given for this activity. And again, if you reduce the allocations for customer service, you may end up with an inferior customer service. So through which customers may be disappointed. So then that will affect the organization in a negative manner in the long run. So therefore, cost leadership strategy may not be implemented here effective. You may focus on reducing some unnecessary costs here and there, but if you try to apply it as an overall strategy here, you may fail in these particular activities like marketing, sales, and customer service. You may fail. So therefore, that may prevent you from getting a competitive advantage. So I think I answered the second question also. A particular strategy that you selected here may not be applied for all the processes, because you may not be in a position to apply it for all the processes effectively. So therefore, here you may think about, say, cost leadership, and here you may think about differentiation, innovation, or something like that. So which you can differentiate, which will help you to differentiate your company from others in the market. So therefore, for these two strategies like innovation and differentiation can be more relevant. Okay, did I answer the second question? Which was posed by one student, whether we should apply the strategy for all processes. We should not, because we may not be in a position to do so.
So sometimes some companies may do some over marketing or some things. Then we cannot give the competitive advantage as well. If we are doing over marketing or unnecessary costs for the marketing and sales.
Yeah. That is one I mentioned. If there is some unnecessary cost involved in these particular processes, you can eliminate it or you can reduce it. But here what we are here now, our primary focus cannot be cost reduction here. That is what I mentioned. Now here the primary focus can be cost reduction under cost leadership.
So same thing can be happen plus 3 also. So in operation and logistic when we consider the operation, sometimes some company may spend more money for the operation without identify optimum conditions.
But usually cost leadership strategies applied for these processes, because we want to make our processes more efficient, through which we can reduce our cost of operations. So therefore cost leadership can be focused effectively, and that can be attained by improving our improving our processes. To improve the processes, we can utilize systems like this, which will ultimately help us to reduce the cost of operations under each of these processes and overall cost of production. And in addition to the costs, we can also help to reduce some time involved in this particular process. If it is a automated just-in-time warehousing, and we can refer to an example like the Walmart example that we took earlier, which will result in cost savings as well as lot of time savings also. So same thing can be applied for any organization. Now just-in-time technique is utilized by I think many manufacturers, and Toyota is famous for that one, and which has resulted in reducing lots of costs for them, because if it is just in time, there is no stocks are maintained, or no unnecessary stocks are maintained in the warehouses. So basically the delivery of parts are directly to the production floor. So therefore for these activities, definitely cost leadership can be applied now, which will result in reducing the overall cost of production. Is there any other question on this value chain and application of strategies to the particular processes? So you need to think about your organization, and also you can divide the organization into these different activities, and then see how you can apply the particular strategies into these different activities. So therefore we have to be very careful in applying the strategy to these different processes, because if we apply it to the wrong process, you may end up with a problem. So therefore selection of a strategy can be done as an overall strategy by assessing the existing competition and what the competitors do, So then, depending on that, we decide on a strategy, but the application of the strategy has to be done here, and that has to be done carefully. So the organization can select a couple of strategies, then you have to decide which strategy is relevant for these activities. So there can be instances where a combination may be relevant. As one of you highlighted, if there are lots of unnecessary costs involved, cost reduction, cost leadership strategy is also relevant here. But the primary strategy may not be the cost leadership, so it can be something else. So that is what I highlight. Okay, is there any other question? It seems no question. We can move forward. Yeah, we can move to section 2, using information technology for strategic advantage. Okay. Under that also, we start with the subtopic strategic uses of IT, and we have discussed a topic strategic IT under section 1, and at the beginning of this particular chapter, and more or less it is similar. Organizations may view and use information technology in many ways. Example, strategically or to support efficient everyday operations. Now, I think you have some idea about this one, and we mentioned that focusing on efficient everyday operations can be one of the primary reasons, so fundamental reasons of investing in information technology. But there can be other users like strategic users of information technology, which we highlighted earlier also. But here we are going to focus on some very specific strategic users of information technology. A company that emphasizes strategic business use of IT would use it to gain a competitive differentiation. Now, when you apply information technology for strategic business use, your primary focus will be to gain a competitive differentiation. So we can use information technology for different purposes, like improving efficiency of our business processes. And if we refer to the things that we discussed earlier, we can focus on improving the coordination and control of work groups. And also we can focus on things like improving decision making. So likewise, there can be some certain primary reasons. But apart from that, there can be some strategic uses, as we highlighted earlier as well. So if we focus on the strategic application of IT, we may focus on gaining a competitive differentiation. They would then devise business strategies that use IT to develop products, services, and capabilities that give the company major advantages in the markets in which it operates. So then we may want to gain some competitive differentiation, highlighting that we want to differentiate our products from the products of our competitors. So then we may focus on developing product, services, and capabilities, so which will help us to gain some advantage over the other competitors in the market. So we may develop certain products and services which are different to the competitors. Or we may develop certain capabilities within the organization so that we can perform our activities or transactions or do the particular processes in a different manner compared to the competitors. So therefore, if it is products and services, we can think about developing products and services which incorporate differentiated features or which incorporate new features, so which we can utilize to differentiate our products from the products of competitors. Then examples of such strategic business applications of information technology include the following. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to focus on some specific strategic business applications of information technology. And primarily, we are going to focus on 4 such applications. First one is business process reengineering or BPR, then becoming an agile company, creating a virtual company, and then building a knowledge creating company. Now, these are the 4 specific applications which we are going to focus, and so we will start discussing one by one. So starting with business process reengineering. So the abbreviation we use is BPR for business process reengineering, and sometimes the term reengineering also used. So BPR can be used, or business process reengineering can be denoted by BPR and also just by writing reengineering. So I think I highlighted this BPR in the earlier discussion also, and that is highlighted here again as well. That is fundamental rethinking and radical redesign of business processes. We are basically rethink about what we do within the organization, and by rethinking we are going to redesign what we do within the organization. So it is not a simple change that we are going to incorporate into the current processes. So we are going to radically redesign. We are going to radically change the existing business processes. So making small improvements, making small changes into the current processes is not considered re-engineering, or it is not considered business process re-engineering. So to come under business process re-engineering, we have to make radical changes to existing business processes. We have to radically redesign the existing business processes. So by doing so, what do you want to achieve? So we can focus on achieving certain improvements in relation to cost of the processes, cost of the operations, or the final cost of production, or quality of the processes, quality of the products or services that we produce, speed at which we operate, speed at which we accomplish our business processes, and the service that we provide to our provided to our customers. So we are focusing on achieving improvements in these areas. So speed is related to time, so we can focus on time reductions and reductions in lead time, and in our processes. So those are the objectives which we may have when we go for this BPR, or radically redesigning the existing processes. Then the next point says potential payback is high, but so is risk of disruption and failure. When you radically redesign the current processes, and the payback can be high because we expect certain improvements, and not again small improvements to what we do right now or what we get right now, and we focus on getting some drastic improvements. So therefore, the potential payback will be high if we become successful in this particular process. In the business process re-engineering, if we succeed, then the potential payback will be high. But there is a risk of disruption and failure because we are going to radically redesign the current processes, and so therefore if we change the existing processes radically, and then the employees may also find it difficult to adopt to the new processes, and they may take some time to adopt to the particular processes, and also they may make certain mistakes in executing those processes because they are not familiar to them. So therefore there is a risk factor involved here. So therefore you may not be in a position to achieve what you expect because you are not in a position to implement it in an appropriate manner, or implement the particular processes successfully in the organization due to a variety of other bottlenecks that you face, or other limitations or other problems that you face in the implementation process. So then the company can also be in trouble. So if they fail in implementing these particular processes successfully, so that will be a big risk for the organization. Then many companies have found that organizational redesign approaches are an important enabler of re-engineering along with the use of information technology. Yes. Yeah, here it says the organizations have found that organization redesign approaches. Now there can be some redesign approaches which are available, or which we can utilize. So they can be used as the enablers of re-engineering or facilitators of re-engineering. So we can focus on these approaches to determine what we are going to change or how we are going to change. And also we can get the support of information technology in this particular process of changing the current processes radically. And so then when we are going to make the particular radical changes to the current and existing processes, so we can use two different approaches. So one is the process team approach, and the other one is case manager approach. Now these are the two approaches which we can use to which we can use in business process re-engineering. And process team is an approach where we give the responsibility of business process re-engineering to a team, and the team can consist of members from different areas of the organization, so which are going to be affected through this business process re-engineering, and the responsibility of implementing this business process re-engineering will be given to the particular team. The number of members in the team may vary depending on the organization and the requirements of the organization, and also the scope of maybe re-engineering that they do. Then a case manager approach is a different approach where we appoint one manager as the case manager, and the responsibility of this business process re-engineering will be with that particular manager, and there can be a team working under him. But the primary responsibility will go to a single manager identified as a case manager. So it will be his responsibility to make the particular changes to the organization, and then implement the particular changes within the organization in a successful manner. So now, having this particular background, now can you think about some business process re-engineering took place within your organization, where you radically redesign the existing processes and implemented completely new processes. Can you highlight an example?
So is it if it can consider the manual production line with the fully automated with the robotic arms and the softwares?
Yeah. What you do currently is radically changed
Yes,
by.
all the processes are robotically automated with the handling of the softwares.
But there can be a limitation for that particular example. We'll take other, now we will come back to your example and also maybe take some other examples after referring to this particular table. Then you should realize more about what we mean by business process re-engineering. Now there can be some business or the process improvements that you incorporate. So then you can determine whether what you do, what has been done within the organization is coming under some business improvement or it is coming under business process re-engineering. So it has to fulfill these particular requirements if we are to consider it under business process re-engineering. And the level of change that you gain at the end will be an incremental one under business improvement. That means a small change, small improvement. That is what you get at the end. Now here you get a radical change at the end under business process re-engineering. Now process change, what happens to the process or what is done to the current process? Improved new version of process. It is an improved new version of the process. Now that means again you have changed the process, but you have improved it. But basically, most of the current maybe activities may still be there, and but you have changed a little bit to the current ongoing process, resulting in an improved process there. But here it says it's a brand new process. Under BPR, you end up with a brand new process. Now, starting point, existing process. You have a current process, and then you identify certain bottlenecks there, and then you eliminate those bottlenecks to make it an improved process. Then here you start with a clean slate. That means you forget about the existing process. You radically or you rethink about the about what you want to achieve at then, and then you rethink about how you can achieve it and the activities that should be performed to achieve what you want. So therefore you are not focusing on the existing processes. You go with a free mind here, and you can rethink about what you want to achieve and how you can achieve it with a set of activities and processes. Frequency of change, it can be a one-time change or it can be a continuous change that you do here, because after some time you make some changes here to make it an improved process, but after some time also you can evaluate it and see whether some problems are there and whether you can improve it further. So you make some changes again, and so therefore you may do it in a continuous manner. It can be one time, but it can be a continuous one also. So here it's a periodic one-time change. So you are not doing it continuously VPR. It's a one-time change and it's a periodic one. Maybe after radically changing an existing process, you may run with that particular process for some time, maybe for a couple of years. Thereafter only you will think about radically changing that particular process. Then time required for making the particular change, it is short here. So you can do it within a shorter period of time because you are incorporating an incremental change, a smaller change. But here you may require a longer time, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, or maybe more than that for that particular process. Then typical scope, it's narrow and it's within functions. So usually this business improvement is limited to certain functions. But here it's broad and it is cross-functional. Now the BPR is relevant or it's applicable for cross-functional processes. So the cross-functional processes are the processes which cross different functions. So therefore, there can be certain processes which are limited to a single function, but there can be certain other processes which are not limited to a single function. And to achieve what you want, to achieve at the end, and you may have to cross boundaries of different functions. So then it becomes a cross-functional process. So we are going to look at a cross-functional example later on. Then horizon. So what is focused and what is based and what is focused here? Based on past, and you want to improve on the present way of doing things. And here your primary focus is the future. You want to achieve certain improvements in the future. So here basically you are learning from the past, of course, but based on the past processes, and you are making certain improvements at present to make it a more improved process or more efficient process. Then participation is bottom up here. Here you can see it's top down. So the BPR is basically implemented as a top down approach. And here it's bottom up because these incremental changes required to be done may be identified by the workers involved there, by the employees involved there. So therefore it's a bottom up approach. So you identify, or the employees identify, thereafter they may get the approval from some higher management to make the particular changes. Then path to execution. Cultural, here it says cultural and structural. Now here cultural means now the organizational culture is the way of doing activities within the organization. Now, so business processes are part of the culture because it indicates the way of doing activities within the organization. So making certain changes to an existing process is of course making a cultural change, because you are making a particular change to an existing, making a change to the existing way of doing activities within the organization. But here it says it is of course cultural because you are changing what you do and how you do activities within the organization. But it may require some structural changes also. So there can be some structural changes related to the organization structure, changes related to the level of management within the organization, the hierarchical levels existing in the organization. So therefore, the implementation can result in some structural changes also, apart from the cultural changes. Statistical control, here primary enabler is statistical control. Now how do you identify, how do you evaluate the ongoing process? It is through certain statistical techniques. And through the statistical techniques, you may identify whether you are achieving what you want to achieve, or the current level of performance is adequate or not. So you may identify it utilizing certain statistical controls, and then you may make certain changes, and again you may evaluate the particular the revised process again through the particular techniques. So therefore here it is identified as a primary enabler is either statistical control, where you use certain statistical techniques and tools to identify the performance of the ongoing process, and then to make certain incremental or smaller changes. Then here it says the primary enabler, how you implement the current or the new process is primarily based on information technology. So you identify, you focus on some radical changes, and you focus on a brand new process, and that is implemented through information technology. Here, that since you are not making radical changes, you are making incremental or smaller changes, and the new process may not require information technology, because you have incorporated the smaller change after identifying some problems in the current process. Here you depend upon information technology for the implementation of the brand new process. And risk is moderate and risk is high. We mentioned that when it comes to BPR, risk is high because you are changing the current process radically. You are going to end up with brand new processes to which employees may not be familiar at the beginning. So then they may not be in a position to execute the particular process effectively. So resulting in a lot of errors, delays, and so on, into high risk. So, but here it is moderate, and it can even be small because you are making some incremental or small changes to an ongoing process. So those are some of the aspects which we can identify under business improvements and under business process reengineering. And with this particular knowledge, I think you can think about maybe certain BPR projects that were implemented within your organization. And we will go to those examples after the break, and we will take the break right now, and we will meet around 10:30 or 35, somewhere there. We'll come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we can start after the break. So we were talking about the differences between business improvement and business process re-engineering. And earlier I asked for certain examples regarding BPR, and now can you come up with some specific examples with the new knowledge which you got from here? Now, what was the early example that was highlighted? The introduction of some automated systems, no? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because all are silent. Now, who said the early example? He's not here now. So anyhow, we have to think about now the early example. He was quoting something related to, I think, production setup. If that was only limited to a particular function, we have some difficulties in classifying it as VPR, because when it comes to the scope has to be a broader, and usually it has to be a cross-functional one. And if that production system is connected with some other systems where also certain other radical changes took place, then we can consider it as VPR project there. So otherwise, if it is only applicable for the production function, then there is some difficulty in classifying it as VPR. So that problem is there. But if you consider an ERP implementation taking place within the organization, so it's a cross-functional application definitely, because ERP process different functions, and usually it results in radical changes to the existing process, and usually again resulting in brand new processes for the organization. And so then that sort of an example is more relevant, applicable here when you look at the different features identified here, or different aspects identified here. Okay, is there any question regarding VPR before? No, there is one other slide. The role of information technology in VPR. So we are going to, we basically highlighted what we mean by VPR, and here we are going to identify the role of information technology in VPR. Information technology plays a major role in re-engineering most business processes. Now, information technology plays a major role in this particular area, re-engineering or business process re-engineering, due to several reasons. So some reasons are identified. Because of these reasons, IT can play a major role in VPR projects. So IT can substantially increase process efficiencies. Now with VPR, we may focus on improving efficiencies of existing processes, and of course radical maybe improvements we look for. radical cost reductions or radical time improvements, which we may be in a position to gain by utilizing IT. And also it can improve communication and it facilitate collaboration among people responsible for their operations and management. And when you look for these cross-functional operations, communication and collaboration between employees of different departments, of different functions may be very, very important. And if you consider an ERP, that collaboration is facilitated, and that is facilitated through these IT applications. So therefore, information technology can help an organization to go for business process reengineering or implement business process reengineering within the organization because of its capabilities. Yeah, before moving to the particular specific example, is there any question regarding this introduction that we made here?
So sometimes we may do some modification in single function. As example, in manufacturing operation, we establish new machine. Sometimes it will affect for the other function as well. Sometimes sales and marketing, they have to increase their sales targets. Sometimes logistic, they have to develop some logistic methods. So if we improve production, so can we take it as BPR? I think same.
You are not making process changes in other areas.
No, we are not changing other processes. We, as example, we purchase new machine to increase production capacity.
Yeah. I think there is some difficulty in specifying it as BPR according to this definition here because of the scope issue there. The scope is limited now then to a function.
Yes, but it can affect for the other function as well. Sometimes
it can affect, but here basically what we do is you change the processes of all those areas.
Right.
Now, all those functions, that is why I took an ERP example now. Usually with ERPs, you don't proceed with the existing processes. You end up with brand new processes because you go for the processes inbuilt in the particular system. And so that affect the processes of many functions. No? So if the process change is only limited to a single function, there is a problem of defining it as BPR according to this particular definition we are utilizing here. That issue is there. So that is actually some sort of automation resulting in some major changes in the specific function, but it cannot be considered as BPR because of the scope issue.
So BPR comes due to the business improvement. Is it correct? Due to the business improvement, we have to do BPR. Oh.
No. Business improvement here, now we identify overall making some incremental or smaller changes to the ongoing process. Now that now if you take the concept of quality circles which are used in certain organizations, now the focus of quality circles is to identify continuous improvements, to make continuous improvements to an ongoing process. How do they do it? It's a bottom-up approach where the employees who are involved in the process identify the existing bottlenecks of the current process and they propose some smaller changes to the ongoing process to improve it. And they may not have the authority to make the particular change. So some higher management involvement may be required, approval may be required. So then it is business improvement. Basically improving the ongoing and existing processes little by little.
So, as example, in waste management sector, we are doing industrial hazardous waste dispose, right? So, as the business improvement, we are going to establish new pyrolysis plant, new pyrolysis technology. Pyrolysis is another waste management technology. We are going to establish new pyrolysis plant. Can we take it as a BPR?
Again, that depends upon mostly, I think, the particular example depend upon here whether it is restricted to a specific function or whether it is a broader. It's an application which is having broad impacts to the whole organization where the new processes will be introduced in other areas also. When it is restricted to a single function, the problem is there. That is that waste management. If it is a if that particular system is not going to have going to have effects on other areas, and also if it does not result in making process changes in other areas, then that issue is there. But of course, you are making some radical changes to
Yes,
one area, no?
And process changes, brand new process, starting point, other things also, I think match, but typical scope. I think it also changes when we purchase new process, new pyrolysis plant. Then salesperson they have to in the waste management sector it's a different field. We have to dispose different type of waste and we create some oil. Then salespeople they have to find a place to sell their waste oil. This type of things.
That is yes. There can be some impact, but based on those impacts, those processes will have to be changed.
Right. So can you give me example for BPR?
Yeah, we'll take this next example. So that is related to re-engineering a cross-functional. Here also, it's highlight. It's re-engineering a cross-functional process. It is not limited to a single function. Now here it says the process is related to order. It says order management process. Process is order management process, which is a cross-functional system. Or it's a cross-functional process and is vital to the success of most companies. Now, order management is vital for the success of most of the companies. Many companies re-engineer this process with enterprise resource planning software and web-enabled electronic business and commerce systems. Now, when it comes to the order management, here it highlights that different functional areas are connected. And in order to fulfill an order, different functional areas will have to work together. So then the sales, without focusing on this specific area, now sales department will have to involve in taking the orders, and manufacturing department will have to come up with the production, and the finance and accounting division will have to come up with the financial part of the particular transaction or settle the financial part of the transaction, and logistics department will have to be involved in delivering the finished product to the customers. So then all these functions will have to work together on the same process. That is basically order management, or we can maybe say order fulfillment, where an order, it starts from the place where an order is generated from a customer. Sales order is generated from a customer, and finally it will be delivered to the customers. Now here this, if you take one by one, maybe it can be a credit sale where the collections can be done at the end. But if you take in general, so you end up with delivering the products to the end customers. So in this particular process, these connections, the communication of information, now when a sales order is taken, and suppose it's a customized order, and the manufacturing department will have to get the particular order related details that is communicated from the sales department to the manufacturing department, and then manufacturing department will have to again maybe communicate with the sales department after the production, and also with the finance and accounting department after production about the settlement. And then the logistics department will have to communicate with the manufacturing department, and maybe again they are communicating with the sales department in delivering the products to the end customers. So in this particular process, therefore, this interfunctional, interdepartmental communication of information can be established through ERP systems. And also the other, you have to connect with the customer and provide maybe accept the order, and then during the production process, customer may contact the company several times, and in the delivery process also the customer may be involved in tracking the orders and so on. For that we may utilize other systems like web enabled e-business and e-commerce systems. So that is what was highlighted. It is highlighted here, but specifically that is illustrated here. Examples of information technologies that support this process include. Now here we are going to look at different technologies and systems that will support in this particular order management process or order fulfillment process. CRM systems using intranets and internet, so which will be used to connect with the customers, maybe to accept orders and also to give certain services back to the customers, and also or maybe even to facilitate some inquiries coming from the customers. Supply manage inventory system using internet and external. Now when it comes to the manufacturing process, if it is a say customized order, all required maybe components may not be available within the organization, so then the organization will have to work with the suppliers to get what is required. And also cross-functional ERP software to integrate manufacturing, distribution, finance, human resources, or logistics. Likewise, they may have to make a different variety of communications between them. For that, ERP software will facilitate. That is cross-functional communications. Custom accessible e-commerce websites for order entry, status checking, payment, and so here the e-commerce system or the CRM system to accept order, but the e-commerce system to accept orders, status checking, to make the payment, and to receive service. Receiving service can be made through the e-commerce site also, but definitely there will be a connection to CRM systems. Customer product and order status databases accessed via intranets and extranets by employees and suppliers. In this particular process, the employees may have to access different databases, and also suppliers may also be required to access databases like inventory management systems, as we highlighted in the Walmart example. So therefore, it can be customer databases accessed by employees, product related databases accessed by employees and also suppliers, and also order status details may be accessed by employees in order to provide a feedback to the employees. So that is cross-functional process which can be re-engineered with the help of different information technologies. Now here you can see different functions are involved. So naturally different functions are involved, and therefore they have to be integrated with each other, facilitating sharing of information. So then why you identify it under re-engineering? There can be a current process now which can be re-engineered with utilizing information technology by connecting all those functions and processes, enabling them to achieve different benefits. As we highlighted earlier, it can be cost-related benefits, time-related benefits, quality-related benefits, service-related benefits, and so on. Those benefits may be gained by re-engineering that order management process with the help of information technologies. Okay, is it clear what we primarily focus is the utilization of information technologies for re-engineering an existing process, and so that can be facilitated by different technologies as highlighted here. Is there any question regarding this example?
No, sir. Clear.
Okay, right. We can move forward. Then another specific strategic use of information technology which can help an organization to gain competitive advantage is identified as becoming an agile company. So we mentioned that there are 4 specific strategic applications of IT which we are going to discuss. So we have finished discussing BPR. Now we have come to the second one, becoming an agile company. Now, agile company in general, if you define it, it can be considered as a company which can respond to the changes taking place in the environment quickly. It's a company which can respond to the changes taking place in the environment quickly. So that is a definition in general. Now, but here we are going to identify some other specific characteristics which should be there in an agile company. Now here it says agility. Now this is a general definition regarding agility. What we mean by agility, or what we mean by the term agile. Agility is the ability to prosper in rapidly changing, continually fragmenting global markets. Now you should be able to the ability to prosper. You should have the capability to prosper or succeed in rapidly changing, continually fragmenting global market. Now, global markets are rapidly changing, and here it says even continually fragmenting means it is divided into maybe different segments over time, and also maybe in a rapid manner. So the market changes, the customers change, their requirements change, their habits change, and also we may be in a position to identify different segments, and they may also change over time. So then we should be able to change and then change our organization and succeed there by selling high quality, high performance, customer configured products and services. So we should be able to sell high quality, high performance, and customer configured products and services, not the standard products we sell. So we sell customized products which are of high quality and also high performance. That should be another feature of this agility. Then by using internet technologies to integrate and manage businesses and to treat customers as individuals. So we use internet technologies to integrate our business, integrate different functions within the organization, and also to integrate our organization with other trading partners, and also utilizing this internet technology for managing the business, and also in addition treat the customers as individuals. Now this is another important aspect, like loving customized products and we treat the customers as individuals. We are focusing on individual customers. We have the ability of focusing on individual customers. So if we have these features, it can be identified under agility, and so we are then going to look at some of the features that we can identify. So therefore, an agile company uh, can be said to have a company which is having these features. An agile company profits in spite of broad product ranges, short model lifetimes, producing individualized products, and producing in arbitrary lot sizes. Now, when you look at these particular features and when you think about the company's profits for a traditional organization, for a traditional, say, manufacturer, achieving all those things at the same time is not easy. So it's a very complex, difficult task for a traditional, conventional manufacturer to go with all these particular features. So broad product ranges. Now, usually when it comes to manufacturer, they tend to produce a limited number of products because they find it easy to manage a limited number of products with the current production setup. So if they want to increase the product range or to add more products, they may have to change the existing production setup or the machines, which may consume time and also which may consume a lot of money. So therefore, most of the traditional companies do not want to change their production setup, and they produce so what is capable with that particular production setup. So naturally reducing the product range that they can produce. But if it is an agile company, we say it is not something like that. They should be able to produce large number of products so they can have broad product range and still earn profits. So I mentioned earlier, if it is a conventional company, when they if they want to produce a large number of products, they have to change the production setup, resulting in high cost. So having an impact on profit. So, but for an agile company, that should not be the case. They can produce a large number of products, but still earn profits. Then short model lifetimes. So this is also a problem faced by organizations usually. Now, if the lifetime of a particular model or lifetime of a particular product is short, so that means the company will have to come up with new products very frequently. To come up with new products, so they may require new machineries or changing production setups or a number of other resources to the organization. So that is again not easy, and it's basically difficult, time consuming and costly, and it can have an effect on the profits for a conventional company. But here it says for an agile company, it should not be the case. So they can produce the products with which have short lifetime. So that means they are in a position to introduce new products very frequently into the market, but still they are in a position to earn profits. Then producing individualized products, mass customization while maintaining high volumes of production. So they can produce individualized products, so customized products to match with individual customers. So they go for mass customization. So that means they can customize for a large number of customers while maintaining high volumes of production. So while customizing products, they produce in large quantities also. So which was a mismatch in the conventional setup. And if in a conventional organization, if they went for customization, they could not produce in large quantities. So if they went for large volumes of production, they could not go for customization. So, but here that the agile company should be able to achieve both while customizing. They should be able to produce in large quantities and also producing in arbitrary lot sizes. Now, again, in a traditional setup, there is a particular lot size specified, for a production setup, and they will, suppose if it is 100 units, so they will produce 100 units continuously before the next item is produced, and before the production setup is changed, before a new item is produced. So, but here you can do it in arbitrary lot sizes. If you want to produce 1 or 2 products, you can do so. If you want to produce 10 products, you can do so, and then you can go for a different product after producing this particular requirement. So these are some of the specific features which we can identify in an agile company, which is something different to a traditional company, as I highlighted earlier. Then we are going to look at some specific strategies an agile company must utilize. Then what are those specific strategies an agile company must utilize? The first one is the business must ensure that customers perceive the products or services of an agile company as solutions to their individual problems. Thus, it can price products on the basis of their value as solutions rather than their cost to the production or cost to produce. Now, this is again something contrast to the traditional setup. A traditional manufacturer, what they do is it will manufacture a standard product, and at the end of the production, they will calculate the cost of production and then keep a price margin and then determine the selling price. So then they push it to the market and with a particular tag price, and they will sell the particular items to the customers at the specified price or label price. So, but here, what we try to sell is not just a product. Here, we try to sell a solution to individual problems of customers. So then our marketing efforts can be more effective. The marketing will have to be changed, but the marketing will be more effective because the customers start perceiving this particular product as a solution to some of the problem that they have. So today, if you look at a certain marketing campaigns, you may see that they sell solutions, not products, not just products. They sell solutions. So those solutions can be related to your health and maybe for some other problem that you are having. So if it is maybe even vacuum cleaner, it may not just be a product. So it can be marketed as a solution to a problem that you are having. If it is milk powder, it is not milk powder that they sell. So they sell some solutions to some health issues that we have. So we consume milk powder because we feel that some of our health problems can be cured from the particular brand of say milk powder. So likewise, they can sell solutions, and so the company can sell solutions, and the customer should see them as solutions to some of their problems. And then the advantage is that they can price the products on the basis of their value as solutions. So then they can have a premium margin. They can have a high margin because customers are willing to pay a higher price because they are not buying a product, they are buying a solution. To buy a solution, they are ready to pay a higher price. So the companies are benefited by selling solutions because they can charge a premium price from customers. An agile company incorporates with customers, suppliers, other companies, and even with its competitors. This cooperation allows the business to bring products to market as rapidly and cost effectively as possible, no matter where resources are located or who owns them. Now, the cooperation with trading partners can be done, but again, maybe in certain industries, cooperation with competitors may be required, maybe in an industry like banking industry and also say telecommunication industry. So the cooperation with the competitors are required in order to deliver the relevant services to their customers. So without this cooperation with the competitors, they are not in a position to deliver the particular product or service quickly and also in a cost effective manner to their customers. So therefore, we may think about the banking industry having cooperations with customers through, say, internet banking facility or mobile banking facility. Or we can take the example of Walmart, where they have cooperation with suppliers in order to ensure rapid and cost-effective purchase of products. So therefore, that is also one other feature which you can identify in an agile company. An agile company organizes so that it thrives on change and uncertainty. So it thrives or it succeeds on change and uncertainty. So which is difficult for again a conventional company. It uses flexible organizational structures key to the requirements of different and constantly changing customer opportunities. Now, here it says these agile companies basically succeeds or thrives or succeeds on change and uncertainty. Now, facing change and companies. And it can be very much true for traditional companies. But for an agile company, it shouldn't be so. And here it says they can use a flexible organizational structure. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to a traditional company, they tend to have a rigid organizational structure. In a rigid organizational structure, you may find the departmentalization of functions, so having different and separate functions within the organization. And maybe you may find lack of coordination between those functions in a traditional setup. And also you may find a number of management levels and also having a long hierarchy, so making it difficult to make decisions and resulting in time consumption in decision making. So, but in an agile company, it cannot be like that. It has to have a flexible organizational structure. I mentioned that one of the main focuses in an agile company is to respond to the customers. So respond to the customer requirements quickly, or to respond to the market changes quickly. So then, so they can have flexible organizational structure, meaning that they may not have that sort of specific functions performed separately by different employees, and they may arrange the employees in such a manner they can achieve the objectives of the organization quickly and effectively. So they may not be aligned to different functions, so they may be performing processes or activities related to different functions. So an individual may be performing activities related to different functions. So in an earlier setup, those activities would have been performed by different employees in different functions. But here, the setup can be changed. And again, the number of management levels can be reduced. And the organization can go for decentralized decision making. So likewise, different features can be embedded into this flexible organizational structure where you change the current setup so that you can achieve your objectives in an easier manner. So then when you have the flexible organizational structure where maybe employees can perform different activities, can process different processes by one person, and also they have more authority because the decision making is decentralized. And again, even if they want to get approval, there is less management levels so that they can get approval quickly. So all those things can help them to respond to the market changes or customer changes or customer opportunities quickly. Then an agile company leverages the impact of its people and the knowledge they possess. So they can utilize or exploit the people that they have and the knowledge they possess by nurturing an entrepreneurial spirit. An agile company provides powerful incentives for employee responsibility, adaptability, and innovation. Now, this entrepreneurial spirit is mostly related to this innovation, and in an entrepreneurial culture, the employees are encouraged to come up with new ideas, so come up with innovative ideas on making changes to existing processes. And for that, they can be motivated or they can be given some incentives. So therefore, employees are encouraged in an entrepreneurial culture. Again, employees are encouraged to take more responsibility, and also they are encouraged to adopt to different circumstances or to adapt to changes taking place in the environment. So therefore, these features should be embedded or incorporated into an organizational culture in an agile company. So those are some of the features which we can identify, or some of the strategies which have to be adopted by an agile company. Yes, there is a continuation of discussion. Is there anything not clear regarding this one? Now here I think we talked about different things and how can we enable these things. I said this is not easy for a traditional company producing large number of products which can be of maybe having short lifetimes and producing individualized products and also in arbitrary lot sizes. Now what are the options that we have to achieve all those things at present? So you make all those things, you do all those things, but your profits are not going to be affected. You can still earn good profits. Hmm. Who are from manufacturing industry? Hmm. Now, maybe things like these flexible manufacturing systems can be utilized here to support most of these things highlighted here, and where the production setup can be changed quickly and also at a lesser cost. And also the same machinery can be used to produce a large number of products. So like today's technology, especially these flexible manufacturing systems can support the organization to do these things at the same time and without having an effect on their profits. So therefore, producing large number of products, utilizing the same machinery, but with small changes, which is not time consuming and which is not costly for the organization. And also the same machinery may be used to produce different products with new features or added features. So that can be done. And also producing individualized products because customization can be allowed because of the, say, this the flexible manufacturing systems, which can be changed to match with individual requirements easily. So you produce one product and then thereafter you can move to the product of a different customer. So therefore that can be done maybe without much hassle for the production setup in the organization, and also without affecting the production process much within the organization. And also this is also connected to all those things, and you don't have to. Now earlier he said that in a traditional organization usually they went for large amounts of production of a standard product. And why? Because their primary intention was to minimize cost of production. How can an organization minimize cost of production in a traditional setup? That is through something called economies of scale. So in order to get economies of scale in production, they have to produce in large quantities. So but here that is not an issue, as I mentioned earlier, with today's technologies and these flexible manufacturing systems. Changing the machine setup is not going to affect much to the organization and its ongoing processes, to the time, to the cost, and so on. So therefore, they can go for this arbitrary lot sizes today without having an effect to their operations much. So that is about this agile company and what they can do with newer technologies, and also how they can execute their strategies. Is there anything not clear or any problem about agile company discussion that we made so far? Clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll move forward to an example or a couple of examples highlighting this how IT helps a company to be agile. We have focused on three main areas: agility in relation to the customers, agility in relation to the partners or partnering, and agility in relation to the operational processes. And the description now, ability in relation to the customers. If we want to be agile, so then the description says what we should do. Ability to cope customers in the exploitation of innovation opportunities. Now, co customers mean you get the involvement of customers in what? In what? In the exploitation of new opportunities. How? You can do it in different ways, as highlighted here, as sources of innovation ideas. You get the, now you are going for you want to develop a new product, to an innovative products, and then you can get the involvement, how you can get the idea from customers about a new product, about innovative products. So therefore you can open a forum and then allow the customers to come up with innovative idea. That is one way, as co-creators of innovation, so they can be involved in this particular innovation process continuously. So they will not be stopped from the from the stage of generating or getting ideas. So they will be continuously used in the product development process as co-creators of innovation, as users in testing ideas or helping other users learn about the idea. So you may go for some prototypes or something like that. You then you can test them, and also you can inquire. You can you can use those ideas, and you can communicate those ideas with other users so that others can also learn about them, and they may also come up with new ideas or something like that. So therefore, we can use the customers in getting innovative ideas, and also in uh, developing products through those innovative ideas, and we can get their involvement in this particular process. That is what we want to do and what we are going to do. Then how can we use IT, the role of IT, technologies for building and enhancing virtual customer communities for product design, feedback and testing. So then we can use a forum or discussion forum, or here it says virtual customer communities. We can create a community specific for this particular, say, innovation process. So organization can have a corporate community site or corporate discussion forum, and inside that one, or as a separate one, you can have a different community, a virtual community focused on this getting ideas from the customers. So therefore, they can be used in the design, feedback, and testing of new ideas with the help of these virtual communities. And this example says eBay customers are its de facto product development team because they post an average of 10,000 messages each week to share tips, point out glitches, and lobby for changes. Now, eBay utilizes the customers to improve their site. How? Because when the customers face certain issues, they inform it to eBay through messages. Now, here it says they receive about 10,000 messages per week, highlighting tips, and also that mean areas to be improved and how they can be improved, and also highlighting glitches or the problematic areas in the particular site that they face, or in the processes that they face, and also the other changes that they request for. So therefore, they can use the particular the messages that they receive, and analyze the customers those comments, tips, or the problem that they have highlighted, and which they can use to improve the particular website or e-commerce site. So therefore, we are getting the customer involvement in this particular process by analyzing the information that they send or messages that they send. Then partnering, ability to leverage assets, knowledge, and competencies of suppliers, distributors, contract manufacturers, and logistics providers in the exploration and exploitation of innovation opportunities. So you work with basically your partners. So in order to identify these innovation opportunities, and also to exploit innovation opportunities, you connect with your trading partners. Now, the technology, how can we use technology? Technology is facilitating in interfirm collaboration, such as collaborative platforms and portals and supply chain systems. Here we need to collaborate with different trading partners. We need to communicate and coordinate with different trading partners. For that, we can use some collaborative platforms and maybe certain portals which connect the organization with other trading partners, with suppliers. And also we may use supply chain management systems. So it's an inter-enterprise system, or inter-firm system, or inter-enterprise system, connecting the organization with its suppliers. An example given here, Yahoo. So you may have visited, I think most of you have visited Yahoo portal. Yahoo has accomplished a significant transformation of its service from a search engine into a portal by initiating numerous partnerships to provide content and other media related services from its website. Now Yahoo is considered a portal today, but it was not considered a portal during that particular during the early era. It was considered a search engine, facilitating searching of information for users. But they have moved from a search engine to a portal. Now, how have they become a portal? What can you see today? You can see a lot of content. When you go to Yahoo's website, you have the search option. Search engine is there. But apart from that, you can access a lot of content. Now, the content include the news is there, and email content or email facility is there, and maybe weather related information, sports related information, entertainment related information, and online games. What else? Shopping, online shopping. So, likewise, lot of content is available. So that is why it is considered as a portal. Now, in a portal, when you go to a portal, you have access to variety of content. So that is how you identify it as a portal. So therefore, when you go to Yahoo, you have access to the search engine, you have access to email, you have access to news, weather, games, and so on. So a lot of content is available. Now, how can users access those different type of content? Does Yahoo produce all those content? No, Yahoo does not produce content. So Yahoo produce actually a very limited amount of content. I think the search engine is there and email facility is there. Some news content may be of there, but when you take 99% of content appearing in Yahoo is not there. So they are of their partners. So they have connected with number of partners from different areas like news, games, weather, horoscope, business, shopping, and so on. So likewise, they have established these collaborations, the connections, so collaboration with their trading partners, enabling Yahoo to allow the user to connect with those trading partners through their website. So therefore, Yahoo has connected with or collaborated with hundreds and hundreds of trading partners, allowing the users of Yahoo to connect with those trading partners through that particular website or through that particular port. So that is how partnering works and how information technology can be supported to partner with the trading partners. Operational, that is agility in relation to operational processes. The description says ability to accomplish speed, accuracy, and cost economy. So we want to achieve improvements in relation to speed, accuracy, and cost economy in the exploitation of innovation opportunities. So you want to exploit innovation opportunities, and in that particular process, you want to do it quickly, and you want to do it accurately, and also you want to do it in a cost-effective manner. Then how can you do it? The IT involvement is highlighted here. Technologies for modularization and integration of business processes. Now this is the modularization technology is related to developing information systems where systems are developed utilizing smaller programs identified as modules. So you integrate large number of smaller programs to develop a larger systems. So that is identified as a modularization, and there are certain benefits like cost saving there, time saving there when you produce these smaller programs which can run on their own, and they can be used to connect to build a larger system. But those smaller programs can be utilized again and again to support various other processes, various other systems. So therefore, the same programs once developed can be utilized again and again. So resulting in reduction of time devoted for development of programs. So that results in time savings and also cost savings for the organization. and also you can use technologies for integrating different business processes. Then Ingram Micro, a global wholesaler, has developed an integrated trading system, allowing its customers and suppliers to connect directly to its procurement and ERP systems. Now, this is a wholesaler, so which basically which has developed a trading platform, an integrated trading platform connecting the business customers and with its business suppliers. So that the business, now here it's a business to business environment, and the business customers are in a position to connect with suppliers directly if they want through this particular integrated trading system or through this particular trading platform. So therefore benefiting these particular end customers and the particular suppliers in different ways, like again time reductions, cost reductions, and so on. So therefore, the transactions can be performed between the particular business customers and suppliers quickly and efficiently, utilizing this particular system. So which allows the connection between business customers and suppliers directly. So likewise, so therefore this process improvement can be made by integrating these different customers and suppliers through this platform, and also with the help of say ERP systems running in their organizations. So that is about this agile concept. If you have any question, you can raise now, but again you can read it after the session, after the lesson, and if you have any question, you can raise it next week also. You can also analyze your organization and see whether you can go for this agility in relation to these different areas with the help of information technology, by connecting with customers, suppliers, and so on, and how you can do it. Is there any specific question which you have? Is there a question, or can we move forward?
Yes, sir. We will move forward, sir.
Okay, thank you. So if you have any question, you can raise at any time, even next week. In the third, strategic application of IT is identified as creating a virtual company. Now, some of the features that we highlighted earlier is relevant for this one also, because again, when it comes to these concepts, they are not mutually exclusive, and there can be some connections between these strategies always. In today's dynamic business environment, forming a virtual company can be one of the most important strategic uses of information technology. So, creating a virtual company, so it can be a strategic use of information technology. So how can we become a virtual company? So by basically using information technology to link people. So it can be within the organization, and also it can be between the organization and outside. And also by linking with various other organizations, so mostly the trading partners, and also connecting different assets. It can be connecting human assets or the financial assets or any other digital assets that are stored in their systems, and also connecting ideas, linking ideas of different people within the organization and also outside the organization. So basically, virtual company highlights the linkage which we can have with information technology. So therefore, earlier also I think we talked about linking with organizations. So here again, in general, we focus on using information technology to link different things like people, organization, assets, and ideas. Then specifically when it comes to this inter-enterprise information systems which connect an organization with other trading partners, so it can connect customers, suppliers, subcontractors, competitors, and so on. So in this particular process, we may develop inter-enterprise system because we want to connect with other organizations, other trading partners, which can include customers, suppliers, subcontractors, competitors, and so on. So by doing so, so we may be in a position to connect with different people in the through those particular systems, different assets, ideas, and so on. All those are relevant for these enterprise systems. Then virtual company strategies, again, some specific strategies are highlighted here, but maybe not detailed, like in the case of agile companies. Share information and risk with alliance partners. You link using certain systems, inter-enterprise systems, and you develop these particular systems collaboratively and facilitate the linkage between a particular organization and its trading partners. So it is not done one-handed. It's a collaborative effort that you make to establish this linkage. By doing so, so you can share different information between the organization and its trading partner, and also you share the risk of developing and also using this particular system with the alliance partners. Link complementary core competencies. Now, core competencies is a term. Have we come across this particular term? Can anyone give a definition for core competency? So what do you mean by, not a definition, what do you mean by core competency? It's basically a unique capability, unique skill an organization has which others do not have. So therefore, each organization may have some specific core competencies, certain unique resources, certain unique skills, certain unique capabilities that they have. So which you can, so it can be, here it says complementary. So it can be useful for your, or it can be contributed for the transaction that you perform with your trading partner. So in executing the business transactions that you do with your trading partners. So therefore they can be shared, because by sharing these core competencies, you are in again position to get certain benefits. Again, the benefits can be like time reductions, cost reductions, so quality improvement, service improvement. Likewise, there can be different benefits the organizations can get by sharing the competencies or special capabilities that they have with others. They reduce concept to cash time through sharing. Again, when you are connected with others, it can result in reduction of concept to cash time through sharing. What is concept to cash time? Hmm. Can someone tell what is concept to cache time? Now, usually it is defined as the time taken from the time where a concept or where an idea was generated regarding a new product, and time taken up to delivery of the product to customers. To here it says to generate cash. So an idea is generated, and from that point onwards, there will have to be number of steps involved, number of processes involved in making that particular idea a reality and producing a particular product and selling the particular product to the customers to generate cash. So the time between idea generation and cash generation is identified as this concept to cash time. So that can also be reduced through sharing made between different parties. Increase facilities and market coverage. So I don't want to elaborate much on that one. I think in the marketing courses that will be elaborated more. Facilities, increase facilities and market coverage. Again, this particular collaboration may help you to increase the facilities that you access in these processes and also the market that you access. So you may be in a position to access to a larger market with the help of these collaborations that you have. Maybe you have a lot of collaborations with some distributors in different markets, which allow you to access those markets easily. Gain access to new markets and share market or customer loyalty. So you can access to new markets with the collaborations with different, as I mentioned earlier, distributors or wholesalers, and you are in a position to share the markets, which one operates right now, which one not operating, but the collaboration may allow you to share that market. So basically expanding the market coverage for your business, and also these collaborations, especially the collaboration that we have with our customers, may help us to improve the customer loyalty towards us. So that will result in customers remaining with us in the long run. So the loyal customers will not leave us, and they will stay with us in the long run. And migrate from selling products to selling solutions. This was highlighted under agile company concept also. So that can be a strategy for a virtual company also. So these are some strategies which a virtual company can adopt basically by connecting with, by using information technology to connect with other organizations. So in the virtual company concept, what is important is the connections or linkages that you establish with others, which will facilitate, which will give you certain benefits. So you can exploit them through these particular strategies. Okay. Because of the time factor, I will move forward. I need to finish this today. This is the fourth and last one, the strategic application of IT, building a knowledge creating company. Now, what is a knowledge creating company? So a knowledge creating company is also identified as a learning organization. So whether you call it a knowledge creating company or learning organization, we mean the same thing. I think you can remember that this term came in an earlier figure where we highlighted the relationship between innovation and competitive necessity, where we highlighted the learning organization. So learning organization is an organization which learn from others. And here it says it consistently creates new business knowledge. The organization creates new business knowledge, maybe from sources within the organization, but that can be done by connecting to external knowledge sources as well. So whatever it is, they can create new knowledge to the organization and then disseminate it throughout the company and builds it into its products and services. You create new knowledge and you disseminate the knowledge among the employees within the organization, and you embed the particular knowledge into the products and services that you produce. So that is the primary focus of a knowledge creating company or learning organization: creating new knowledge, disseminating it among the employees, and then incorporating the particular knowledge into the products and services that they produce. Then we have two types of knowledge. So what are those two types? First one is explicit knowledge, the other one is tacit knowledge. What is explicit knowledge? That is data, documents and things written down or stored in computers. Now this particular knowledge is already available in a written down format or in a printed format, or that is available inside computers. So it can be data, it can be certain documents, or it can be some other content which is already printed, which is already published, which is already written, and that is available in, say, printed form, or it is available in computers in a digital form. So whether it is available in printed form or whether it is available in computers, that is accessible to the employees easily. So explicit knowledge is easily accessible to the employees within the organization. Then tacit knowledge, the how to knowledge in workers' minds. So that is how to knowledge. So what is this how to knowledge in the workers' minds? So it represents some of the most important information within an organization. A knowledge creating company makes such tacit knowledge available to others. That is not elaborated here. We'll see whether. No. So what is this how to knowledge? That means the knowledge in relation to performing something or how to perform something. So some workers, some employees within the organization. Yes, there is a question regarding tacit knowledge and implicit knowledge. I think yes, it's the same term is used. Implicit term is also used, but again, I will confirm it later on. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. So then, how to knowledge, as I mentioned earlier, that is about how to do something. So how to do something may be learned by workers, by employees, by doing something over a period of time. And so then the experienced workers, experienced employees in the organization may possess some knowledge which is related to how to do something, but that is not written, that is not publicly available, or that is not readily available for others. So because it is in their minds, by working on something, they have learned it. Through their experience, they have learned it, and that is within their minds. So, but it can, here it says, it can represent some of the most important information within the organization. It's how to knowledge, how to perform something, how to do something, may be very, very important for a particular organization, for performing activities within the organization. So then, but if the particular employee is possessive, if certain employee is possessive, and if they leave the particular organization or if they retire from the organization, then the organization is going to lose that particular knowledge. So after that, the organization will not have the particular knowledge. So that can cause problems. So therefore, the knowledge creating company makes such tacit knowledge available to others. So therefore, a knowledge creating company focuses on capturing this particular how to knowledge, capturing this tacit knowledge which is not readily available, and then make the particular knowledge available to others in the organization. So others can learn from the experience of others. So others can learn from what they know, which is not written down. So therefore, this knowledge creating company focuses on making tacit knowledge available to others. So how can we do it? Then, but before that, here we are moving to a concept called knowledge management. Successful knowledge management. Now, this is not related to any IT. So this is the knowledge management concept. Successful knowledge management creates techniques, technologies, systems, and rewards for getting employees to share what they know. So this is the concept of knowledge management, developing certain techniques or technologies or systems and rewards for getting employees to share what they know. Because they may not share what they know maybe easily, or maybe they may not feel like sharing what they know, or there are not be a cause, so there not be a reason for them to share what they know for others, what they know with others. So then, therefore, it is the organization which should develop some mechanism. So which can include certain techniques or technologies to capture the particular knowledge from the employees, and developing certain systems, or maybe offering certain rewards for them to share the knowledge that they have, which is not written down within the organization. So therefore, before if certain employees possess some knowledge that can be captured in the utilizing these particular mechanisms. So then makes better use of accumulated workplace and enterprise knowledge. Thereafter, the knowledge management is capable of making better use of the particular accumulated knowledge, the captured knowledge, and the enterprise knowledge, or the knowledge which is captured throughout the organization, can be utilized by the organization for different purposes later on. So therefore, the knowledge management focuses on capturing the particular knowledge from the employees. Then, how can we do it? We can specifically focus on knowledge management systems to capture the particular knowledge and then to utilize it within the organization. Then knowledge management systems, it's a major strategic use of IT. It manages organizational learning and know-how, help knowledge workers create, organize, and make available important business knowledge wherever and whenever it's needed in an organization. So knowledge management system is the strategic application of IT, and so it's IT application which we can use to support the knowledge management and utilization process, and so it can help the organization to manage this particular learning process where we capture knowledge. As we highlighted earlier, organizational learning is related to capturing knowledge and sharing and disseminating that particular knowledge throughout the organization, and then embedding that particular knowledge into the products or services that they produce. So the knowledge management systems can help manage the particular process. And so these systems can also help the knowledge workers. The knowledge workers are the ones who basically create new knowledge for the organization. And so the knowledge management systems may directly help them to create certain knowledge and then organize the particular knowledge in a particular manner suitable to be stored within knowledge bases, and then make available important business knowledge to others in the organization whenever and wherever they are. whenever they want and wherever they are. So therefore, the knowledge management system therefore can facilitate the creation of knowledge by the knowledge workers and organization of knowledge or arranging of the knowledge so that they can be stored within the organization and then making the particular knowledge available to others. And who are the knowledge workers? There can be different categories of knowledge workers in an organization, and the R&D people definitely can be knowledge workers working in an organization, and also maybe engineers can be knowledge workers. Certain product designers can be knowledge workers who come up with new designs, and who else? Even accountants in an organization can be considered knowledge workers because they generate new knowledge from the data that is stored within the databases. So likewise, depending on the organization, there can be different categories of knowledge workers who create new knowledge for the organization, so which will be useful for the organizations different activities. And knowledge includes, it says, processes, procedures, patterns, reference works, formulas, best practices, forecasts, and fixes. Different type of things can be referred to as knowledge. The processes, the procedures, the patterns, reference works are the ones which we refer to whenever we need, and there can be certain documents which we refer to whenever we need, because the particular documents contain some useful information, and it can also be knowledge. Likewise, certain formulas, best practices, forecast fixes, and so on. So these are some examples, but there can be other sort of knowledge which is created within the organization and which is useful for the organization. Then internet and intranet websites, groupware, data mining, knowledge bases, and online discussion groups are some of the key technologies used by a knowledge management system. A knowledge management system may utilize different technologies to facilitate the creation of knowledge, the organization of knowledge, and the dissemination of knowledge throughout the organization. So therefore, a knowledge management system can consist of intranet websites used within the organization. It can have other groupware facilitating group work, facilitating teamwork, and also it may have data mining facility, mining data deeply in a comprehensive manner. It may have knowledge bases connected to knowledge bases, facilitating the organization and storing of knowledge in knowledge bases, and also it may be connected to different online discussion forums. Why online discussion forums? Because online discussion forums can also be a very, very important place where new knowledge is created. Now, we mentioned under, I think, agility, the customer agility, where the organization can create virtual communities or these online discussion groups, online discussion forums to capture new knowledge. So, because by connecting with customers, by connecting with some other maybe potential customers or users, the organization is in a position to capture new knowledge. So therefore, the knowledge management systems can be used to create virtual communities and also to connect with virtual communities. Then, continuing with knowledge management systems, they also facilitate organizational learning and knowledge creation. I explained this one. They are designed to provide rapid feedback to knowledge workers, encourage behavior changes by employees, and significantly improve business business performance. Now, say by analyzing data, these systems, say by mining data, these systems are capable of providing a rapid feedback to the knowledge worker so that they can take some action depending on that. And also they can promote change of behavior. So by sharing new knowledge with employees, that can motivate them to change the behavior of them. So therefore, some behavior related information may be shared among employees, inducing them to change the current behavior of them, so that they can move to a different behavioral pattern, or maybe a more efficient behavior pattern. And also overall for business performance improvements. Then as the organizational learning process continues, its knowledge base expands. Now the organizational learning process, we mentioned that it is related to creation of knowledge. So when you create more and more knowledge, what happens? The knowledge base expands. The knowledge possessed by the organization expands. So then what can they do? The knowledge creating company works to integrate its knowledge into its products, into its business processes, products and services. So when they possess knowledge, they can embed that particular knowledge or integrate that particular knowledge into the business processes that they have, to improve them, to make them more efficient. And also they can incorporate the knowledge that they possess to come up with new products or differentiated products or improved products. So that can be done. The integration helps. The knowledge integration basically helps the company become a more innovative, agile provider of high quality products and customer services, as well as formidable competitor in the marketplace. So when you possess the particular new knowledge, and it may help you to come up with innovative products or new products or products with innovative features. And also agile provider of high quality. Agile provider, we mentioned that they should be able to identify the changes taking place in the environment and then respond to the particular changes quickly. So when you are connected to the environment, so you can identify those changes, and then you can produce say high quality products to match with the customer requirements, and also you are in a position to provide a better customer service. So when you possess again more and more knowledge, so that can ultimately help an organization to become a formidable competitor in the marketplace. So the knowledge management system can build different capabilities within the organization, so which will ultimately help the organization to become a better competitor, a more stronger competitor in the particular industry. So that is what I wanted to discuss. I had to rush through a bit because I wanted to finish it. Is there any specific question under knowledge management systems? Okay, it seems no question. And again, you can go through what I have done today, and if you have any question, you can raise it next week. And I think most probably we may have an evening lecture next week. I think confirmation will be given by the MBA unit. Okay, thank you very much for joining, and we will stop for today and meet next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome.
Recording stopped.